and welcome to my channel where we talk about things we love like gaming, shows, and anime. It's been a while since the last Gantz video that I posted up, and there's still plenty of Gantz videos to come, so expect to see reviews for the franchise anytime soon, as well as more top 5 lists for Gantz. I appreciate that you're taking your time to watch these videos, even if you haven't finished the whole series yet. So today we'll be taking a look at 5 of the most disappointing character deaths in Gantz. But before we begin, can you guess who this character is? Remember, the first person to guess it correctly will receive a shout out. Just make sure to spell it correctly or it will not count. And with that said, let's begin. Number 5. Tetsuo Nemoto. Now, Tetsuo had completely different personalities in the anime and the manga, but in the end it didn't really matter because his fate was death before the next mission could begin. In the manga, I couldn't give a shit whether he lived or died. He had the same personality as the other bikers. He was a piece of shit, but his death, it makes no sense whatsoever. In the anime, he was a bit of a prick, but he still had a good heart.
I get the idea you're in a lot of trouble about now. You murdered another person. Give us a sign that you have some remorse about that.
However, the way he died was by saying Gantz out loud when he was surrounded by the bikers who killed him in the first place. And one of them asked who the hell was Gantz, to which is a big no-no, meaning your head will explode if you mention anything about Gantz to anyone who hasn't been in the Gantz room. So it made sense.
Tell me why, Gantz!
Gantz? What the fuck is that?
In the anime, it made sense to how he died. It was a bit sad, and I was hoping to see how he'd handle himself in the next mission. But in the manga, even though he's surrounded by the other biker gang, he doesn't yell out Gantz like he did in the anime. Instead, he hears a noise, everyone's about to hit him, but then he starts bleeding from his eyes, ears, and nose. And in the next second, he's dead. By the way it's drawn, it almost looks like the biker from behind him hit him in the back of the head, but I don't think that's what happened. He just died. There was no out of bounds, he didn't mention Gantz, he just died. I know a lot of characters in this series get some good character development and their death turns out to be a shock, but this was just disappointing as hell. Number 4. Shion Izumi. Izumi is a character that was introduced when all of Kurono's friends and allies in the Gantz room were dead. He had no more competition until Izumi arrived. Izumi was better than Kurono by a mile. This guy became his rival, a better one since Nishi could have been a rival but died too soon, and then Kato was too much of a nice guy to do the same kind of damage that Kurono could do. So Izumi was perfect. He was like the best of Nishi and Kato combined. He couldn't be taken down by an army of vampires or aliens, not until they attacked his school girlfriend, and that was it. He wasn't brought back afterwards to get his revenge. We know he could have taken the rest of them down, but that was the end for him. A sword slash to the back, and since nobody was his friend in the team, nobody revived him. What a wasted character. Number 3. Hachiro Oka. If you think Izumi was a total badass, Hachiro Oka would dominate him in a one-on-one fight. This guy reached 100 points over 7 times. We only got to see him in the Nurarion mission, the mission that the whole movie of Gantz was based on. Now, the manga and the movie versions of the Nurarion mission do have their differences, but in the end, Oka dies the same way, off screen, by the 100-point boss. I know, I understand why he died off screen. After all the cool shit that Oka was pulling off by himself, it was supposed to be a major shock to see that after the final boss transforms one last time, you're wondering just how powerful he is, and you don't even know what he is capable of. But what you do know is that he was far tougher than Oka because he just easily killed off the strongest Gantz fighter that we've known so far. We were just introduced to the best Gantz fighter alive so far. I get that we're supposed to be introduced to a really powerful boss here, but don't you think that it would have been a lot more impactful if we saw Oku fight this final form of the boss and see how his efforts were meaningless? Because in the end, the only thing the boss did that was new was have heat vision. Yes, it was epic. The destruction that comes with heat vision is mild, but this wasn't just any Gantz fighter here. This was Oka. You saw what he was capable of, but I think the creator just introduced him merely for the surprise reveal of how powerful this final boss was in his final form, because he was capable of taking down the strongest Gantz fighter so far without a problem in this form. However, after seeing how easily he can be taken down, which was by attacking him when he's not looking, that just makes Oku's death a little more disappointing than shocking. Number 2. Rika Shimohira. At one point in the manga, we got another Kei Chrono roaming the earth. The Kei Chrono clone was probably the dumbest canon thing that happened in the series. I think it downgraded Rika as a character, turned her into a desperate bitch. I get that Chrono is the team leader, but he's not the person to look up to, especially for Rika. She's famous. She's got some high stakes you gotta reach if you wanted to date someone like her. But halfway through the manga, she starts becoming obsessed with Chrono. I don't know why, but she then started getting too desperate to the point of reviving Chrono when he's already alive. So now there's a Chrono clone walking around. He tries switching places with the real Chrono so the real Chrono could go and bang Rika while the clone hooks up with Tei. But the real Chrono refuses, so the clone sticks with Rika then. All is well until the clone Chrono, who's with Rika, all of a sudden starts acting like an asshole to Rika. I gotta say, Chrono is most definitely the worst protagonist in any manga. He cries like a bitch when a hot girl doesn't want him, but when a girl does want him, he acts like a total dick. Even with Rika of all people. So what happens next? His ego gets the best of him. He gets his ass handed to by the aliens. Rika saves him. Then Chrono wakes up and sees that Rika is lying there dead. She died off screen. How disappointing. Number 1. The Kei Chrono clone. The Kei Chrono clone is the one that stuck with Rika. The clone came out near the end of the manga, but then got killed off at the very end of it. Like I said, the Chrono clone was probably the dumbest canon thing that happened in the series. It wasn't at all a good twist. It was disappointing as hell. It's like having 2 good guy Gokus. It's one too many. You can't have 2 Chronos roaming the earth, so of course one of them had to die. The Kei Chrono clone. After he sees Rika dead, that's when he finally feels bad for what he did, and from then on he starts crying like a little bitch again. But even his death was disappointing. As soon as they meet the creators of everything, I think, I'm still a little confused with the ending in Gantz, the part where they meet their maker. But in this moment that God or whatever he is, the creator, creates another Rika in front of the Chrono clone and the rest of the Gantz fighters, he creates Rika to show them all just how easily they can create life and take it away. So the Rika that was just created gets destroyed, and this triggers the Chrono clone, so he lunges over to attack the gods in front of him, so he gets turned into dust. I like the Gantz series, but you gotta admit that it has some problems here and there. And this is, by all means, the worst character death in the series, because even though we already have another Kei Chrono running around, this is still the main character of the series, right? So why did he get killed off this way? It's pathetic. It's weak. I'm sure that if there wasn't a Chrono clone out there, then he probably would have just been force pushed away. But I think this was done because the creator Hiroya Oku changed his mind about having 2 Chronos in the story, especially when it's near the end of the manga. So that's the top 5 most disappointing character outcomes in Gantz. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if there's a far worse character outcome in the series. But before I end the video, I want to mention something I realized after making this video. Or should I say the original video, because this is a re-upload. And I want you to know why I had to re-upload it. So for the longest time, I could have sworn that when Kei Chrono and the clone interacted, they switched girlfriends. I read this manga years ago, so there's a chance that I just misread it or forgot that they only talked about it but didn't go with it. I'm letting you all know because this is actually a re-upload. Not that it matters since it only racked up about 300 views out of my 79,000 subscriptions. What the hell is that all about? But for those of you who did see it before, thanks for tuning in again. And now you know that I got some information wrong the first time, which really sucked for 2 reasons. One, because for all these years I was under the impression that both Chronos did switch girlfriends, and the original Chrono was the one that died at the end. I guess Chrono ain't too bad of a protagonist. But then again, he did know about Izumi's plan to eradicate the citizens of Tokyo and did nothing about it, only until he realized his girlfriend was out there. What a dick. And 2, because making a 10-minute video in a day is hard as fuck. And having to go back to rework on a video, it just sucks ass. So I appreciate it if you leave a thumbs up for the effort, and if you enjoyed the video, of course. But anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, please leave a thumbs up. Share and subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to click on the little bell icon next to the subscribe button to notify you of every new video that gets uploaded to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and Facebook to find out which videos are up next and whatever random posts I make. But anyways, I'll see you on the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.